The Go Bowling at the Glen race was a disastrous weekend for the reigning Cup Series champion Ryan Blaney. His entire race was wrecked over the course of just a few corners. After he broke a steering column during an opening lap incident, his car had to be towed off the track and NASCAR did not allow him to rejoin the race. Blaney was absolutely furious with NASCAR over this. However, NASCAR has now given a simple, strong order response to his rant. And we deliver simple and efficient videos on the latest news on NASCAR for the best fans in the world. So hit that subscribe button and join an amazing community. During the first lap of the race, Blaney was involved in a major accident along with Corey LaJoie, Denny Hamlin, and Kyle Busch. But how Blaney got involved in this is still a mystery. On the opening lap, LaJoie first got loose and spun Kyle Busch. He then caused the entire field behind him to take evasive maneuvers. However, Hamlin got caught in the crash. During that moment, it looked as though Blaney had gone through clean, but he just wasn't able to steer the car after passing through the incident. While all the cars were trying to avoid a spinning Kyle Busch, one of them hit Blaney and broke his steering column and couldn't control his car. The number 12 had to be towed back into the garage. However, NASCAR did not allow the number 12 crew to repair the car. Instead, they were forced to retire from the race. This is why Blaney was furious at NASCAR. But NASCAR Cup Series Managing Director Brad Moran has told Blaney to read the rule book before talking about the rules in NASCAR. After the race, Blaney had a lot to say about NASCAR's rules and regulations. How are they going to dictate if we are done or not? They have no idea of the damage. Blaney said, "They said because I couldn't drive it back to the pits, we're done. But if you get 4 flats, you get towed back to the pit box. You can't drive it back. I don't know what's going on or why they wouldn't even give us a shot to work on it. I don't agree with it. And I don't even know what happened, honestly. They stacked up and I caught someone in the left front. It completely broke the steering arm. I don't know if we would have been able to fix it. That's the frustrating part. Just don't even give us a chance. Just end our day. Don't even let us look at it before it's in the garage. It stinks." Blaney is basically blaming NASCAR for his poor performance at Watkins Glen. But Brad Moran is having none of it. He clarified what is written in the rulebook and why Blaney was not allowed to continue in the race. "We have our DVP, the Damaged Vehicle Policy, which has been in play since 2017, Moran said. "There was a lot of industry collaboration from teams and owners to reduce the number of people they bring to the track, because back in the day, they'd bring a car in and cut it in half, and weld parts on and put them together, and they weren't really comfortable with what they were sending the drivers out in. The drivers weren't totally comfortable with what they were driving, and that's why this was put into place. That was 2017, and it hasn't changed. If you are in an incident and you're on the DVP and you cannot drive the vehicle back to your pit stall, then you're out of the race at that point," Moran said. "If you drive it into the garage or behind the wall, at that point you're out of the race, and you have to go to the care center. So it's a variety of reasons or efficiencies or safety. But all the industry in collaboration put this together in 2017. It was very unfortunate. I totally get Blaney's frustration, but he was involved with the incident with Brad Keselowski, which did end up busting the front suspension or steering, I believe it was, at the end of it all. And that would be consistent with what we've been doing since 2017. Ever since the 2017 season, NASCAR has not allowed cars to continue in a race after being towed into the garage. This is not because they don't want the drivers to race, but because of safety concerns. If the mechanics are allowed to fix the car and get it back racing, NASCAR will not be able to verify whether the repairs have stabilized the cars or not. If the repairs are not done properly, the drivers and the other drivers on the grid will be at risk as the car could easily fall apart once again. Since it's the playoffs, Ryan Blaney had a lot to lose as it's the second race in the first round. But safety always comes first. NASCAR has made it clear that they will prioritize safety first at all races. And then Blaney continued to talk about how cars with 4 flat tires can be towed back into pit road and still continue in the race. To this, Moran said, "To add to that, in 2022, when we got this new car and went to Auto Club, I think it was race 3 of the season, we found we had a situation we had to deal with in the design of the new car, and the design of the tire and shorter sidewall of the tire and all these items with the new car. They would get beached and it would prevent them from moving," Moran said. "They could be perfectly fine, have 4 flat tires, and couldn't move, so we needed to come up with a procedure for that, which we did, and that was called the Flat Tire Recovery Program, which is not the same thing as the Damaged Vehicle Policy. We bring them in to change the tires and continue. because the last thing we want is to put a car out of the race just for flat tires. When a car has 4 flat tires, it is a completely different situation. In this scenario, the structure of the car is completely stable. It's just the 4 tires that will need replacing. In this case, NASCAR allows the car to be towed directly into the pit lane. But if the car is taken into the garage due to significant damage to the body, it cannot return to the race. One of the main takeaways from the Watkins-Glen race was the chaos that occurred at the bus stop chicanes. Several drivers complained about the quality of racing during the race. However, NASCAR somehow saw this as a plus point for the sport. "Yeah, the bus stop got everyone's thumbs up from the drivers," said Moran. "They were getting in the cup car. These things are so rigid the way they got them set up, and they were really crashing around through that bus stop, and now it is faster going through there, but it's way better on the drivers, so that was an absolute plus." Despite the crashes that occurred at the bus stop, Moran thinks that it was a success as the cars were able to go through the bus stop at greater speeds, due to the new design of the cars. While this made the cars faster, it looked as though some of the NASCAR drivers were not prepared for that increase in speed. However, crashes were a plus point for NASCAR. Why? Because the fans love to see cars crash during races. That is entertainment for them. Any race where the cars keep crashing is considered to be an eventful and entertaining race for the fans. However, it certainly does not give the drivers the best feeling. Ryan Blaney already spoke about it and prematurely blames things on NASCAR. But Martin Truex Jr. knew just who to blame for the chaos at the track. "Just crazy that all these races always come down to this," said Truex in some more post-race comments. "I just don't really understand how guys can call themselves the best in the world when they just drive through everyone on restarts at the end of these races. It's very frustrating, but it is what it is these days. I'm out of here." Truex couldn't believe that some of the best drivers in the world were racing the way they were. NASCAR drivers are used to racing on oval circuits, so coming to a road course like Watkins-Glen is a significant change in pace for the drivers. They were clearly not able to cope with this change and were causing crashes throughout the race. Ryan Blaney got the worst of this and was taken out of the race in the very first lap. While he can blame NASCAR all he wants, the real blame is on him and the rest of the drivers. At a track like Watkins-Glen, things are always better if you qualify at the front. But Blaney was not able to do that and was setting himself up for a start from the back of the grid. Starting from all the way back, there's a higher risk of catching a crash on the opening lap as all the drivers will be bunched up together. And NASCAR did not do anything wrong. They made the right decision to not let the crew work on Blaney's car as it would have been a safety issue. Not just for Blaney, but for the other drivers as well. Do you think NASCAR should make a rule to allow the crew to make changes to the car after being towed to the garage? Post your thoughts in the comment section below.